I just knew that if I could find the right person, like that was always my goal. Is like, I just need to find the right person that sees my skills and my talents and they'll make me a manager someday. And boy, was I wrong, man. They made me an owner, right? They made me an owner.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 10 of the Millionaire Misfits podcast. Our mission is to turn everyday misfits like us into millionaires like our guests. Their experience will help you achieve financial freedom, quit the day job, travel the world, and just have total control over your time and how you spend it. Our guest today is Josh Hutchins, owner of Two Men in a Truck Moving Company. This guy has an awesome story, you guys. So motivating, but also there's tons of nuggets and nuts and bolts in there for you to learn from. Dan, tell him a little bit more.
Dude, I love Josh. Like him coming from a blue collar, like just working the trades kind of stuff and just having that motivation to be like, you know what? I can do this. I can do my own thing. I'm going to start this. It was so motivating. I loved listening to his story and just the knowledge that he's taken along the way. He's got so much advice for people just starting out. Anybody that's like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm just an electrician or something like that. This is going to be a good one for you guys.
Yeah,
so,
I love how he worked his way up from the company
yeah,
into a manager role, into an ownership role. So this would be great for anyone working a 9-to-5 who thinks they can't become an entrepreneur. It's kind of like the baby steps program.
Yeah.
The very safe way to get there and trade your time for some ownership instead of always for a salary.
Yeah. We talk a lot about a very specific nugget that you guys need to make it in entrepreneurship or how to get started. So
yeah,
let's get into it and find out what that was.
This is huge. Let's go. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Millionaire Misfits. We are joined in studio, in our professional studio here, by Josh Hutchins. We call you Hutch though, right? That's what you go by?
Yep.
Okay,
Hutch.
Cool. We all got cool nicknames. Stewie, Hutch, Dan.
Dan. Okay. Sure.
But thanks for coming, man. We've met at a random networking event that I went to, that Conrad invited me to. We got Qdoba. We got lunch afterwards. It was cool meeting you there, and I recognized the brand Two Men in a Truck.
Yep.
Driving around Fargo. You can't live in Fargo without seeing these big white box trucks.
Yep, they're everywhere now.
And so I noticed those like almost immediately after day one of living in Fargo. We met at the networking event, had a good lunch, talked business, and I'm like, I gotta get this guy on the podcast. A lot of really cool stories, and just local business owner and a very goal oriented and just a cool guy. So I'm like, I gotta get you on the podcast, have a little bit deeper conversation about some of this stuff. And yeah, thanks for coming, man. And I'm excited to dive into some of this stuff. Yeah. But give us a little bit about your background, how you came to Fargo, how you got involved with business and owning this franchise here, and we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely not the typical route into business ownership.
Is there a typical route?
Like, it never is.
Perhaps not, accidental entrepreneur. So I was living in Rochester, Minnesota. I met my wife in college. I had actually dropped out. She got hired as a nurse at Mayo Clinic, the Mayo Clinic. And so at that time I moved to Rochester, and I'd worked a couple of kind of dead-end jobs and met a guy who actually his stepdad ended up opening a two-man truck franchise. And so he brought me on, and through the course of 5 years, I worked my way up from being just a driver to being the operations manager to being the sales and operations manager, and kind of got to see the whole business. At that point, he gave me the opportunity. He said, you can move to Topeka, Kansas, or you can move to Fargo, North Dakota. I want you to be a partner.
Two great options.
Yeah. Yep. Both flat. But the thing about it, I grew up in a trailer, and so I saw Twister when I was young, and for some reason, I am just terrified of tornadoes. And so like Kansas was instantly off of the plate. Like there wasn't even in the running. The only thing I knew about Fargo was that there's a lot of pheasants in North Dakota. And so I was like, all right, let's go.
Big hunter.
Yep. I'm a big outdoorsman. I figured that by moving up here, I wouldn't be the biggest hick in the room anymore. And I was wrong. But so I got the opportunity to move up here in 2019. We didn't know anybody. We rented our first space. We rented it over FaceTime, actually, through our realtor, and moved up on the 28th of December, which is a really cold time of the year to move to Fargo.
Yep.
And we moved up, and we just had our daughter Addie with us. And we had a house on the south side of Moorhead, and we had a second-story apartment facing the west with a field over there. So it was like all the wind all the time. But so we came in 2019. We started out with 3 trucks, and we built it up to 9 moving trucks and started doing junk removal as well. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and Fargo's been, it's been a really great community to be a part of. When we first visited, I saw a lot of green and gold, so I thought everybody was Packers fans. And I was like, all right,
wish.
I can get down with that. I'm from Wisconsin, and the other thing that really stuck out was just the community is very friendly, right? We're going to walk into a restaurant and people are holding the doors. Coming from Rochester, Minnesota, the vibe is just a little bit different. Rochester's a very professional city. Most of the people are somehow affiliated with Mayo, and so it's just a little bit colder, right?
Yeah, they all are about business down there.
Yeah, and Fargo's a business community too, but it's just different. It's got a way different vibe. And we felt that just immediately. We came up, we spent a weekend, we went to a restaurant, we didn't really do much. But we could just tell this is a community that it's just nice. It's a nice warm place to be. Not in the winter, but
I think that's part of it. The winters are so bad that we're all we give each other the nod in the summer. Hey, you survived that last one too, huh?
Yeah, you made it.
Real recognized real.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, dude. So when did you move to Fargo?
So we moved up December of 2019.
Okay, so you've been here a little while now.
Yep. So we're our 6th year of business.
Yeah.
Yep. In our 6th year. Been a business owner now for 5 years and celebrated that last year. And yeah, it's been a wild ride.
That's awesome.
It's been fun. We kind of just grew.
It's a franchise, right?
Yep.
So you bought into that?
Yeah. So our partnership group did.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So we paid for the franchise territory and then we have ongoing expense, so we pay to the franchise as well. But
so you did a partnership.
Yep.
Okay,
So I was brought in.
Went in.
So there's 4 of us partners, and yeah, they brought me in on sweat equity, right? So they said, Josh, you move your family up there, you go do a great job. You're not going to pay anything. You're going to earn ownership over a period of years and get up to that level. And so I didn't have to put any dollars down, which thank God, 'cause I didn't have any.
Yeah,
that's such a huge way to get in. If one of our immediately, one of our misfit listeners out there wants to be a millionaire, they're like, okay, I don't have any money. How do I get it? That's just one more example of there's sweat equity.
Bust
there's
Yeah, no, that's
options.
it 100%.
Move to Fargo, North Dakota.
Yeah, 2 men in a truck. When I started there, I was like, hey, this is a place where if I work hard and I take good care of people and I learn how to be a leader, I'll be a manager someday. I'll make 60 grand. I'll be able to have a family. It's going to be great. Right. But then I really I love working hard. I love helping people. It makes me feel good to get that. And, I just knew that if I could find the right person, that was always my goal. Is I just need to find the right person that sees my skills and my talents, and they'll make me a manager someday. And boy, was I wrong, man. They made me an owner, right? They made me an owner. And so that's out there. And myself and my partners and every other business owner that I know, we're looking for people just like that, right? We're looking for that person that deserves a sweat equity opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of businesses, I just found this out, a lot of businesses, our value is in blue sky, right? It's not in assets. It's not in tangible things. And so we need to constantly be training up that next person that's going to take over our business, because that's almost always how it works out, is you have to sell it to somebody that's working for you, working in the business already.
Yeah. I like the term accidental entrepreneur you mentioned earlier, but so you mentioned you were kind of they're going to make me a manager, all this stuff. At what point or when did you decide this is something I want to do? I want to run this business or be an owner in this business?
Not until I got the opportunity to, I guess. My mindset was always just to own the position that I had, right? So anywhere that I worked, I took ownership in it, right? When I worked at my aunt's hotel, I was just the maintenance guy, but somebody would walk in and, hey, how are you doing? I'm dirty, right? I was like, hey, how's it going? Can I help you with anything? They don't know why the hell I'm asking them that, right? So I've just always kind of had that mindset of ownership. I own my position. I think a lot of Americans, we base ourselves off of what our job is, what our work ethic is.
It's our identity, kind of.
It's always been married to that for me. Yeah. And so I never had that, I want to be an owner. Now it's hey, now I want to have more business and I want to create more opportunities. Yeah. It never really sunk into until he asked and said, hey, I want you to be a partner of mine. Then I'm like, holy shit, I want that too.
Yeah.
I love that, because it's not like everyone's born with that entrepreneurial mindset.
I was told I shouldn't be an entrepreneur.
Right. Old society tells you, go to school, get a degree, work a day job in a cubicle 30 years. That's a blueprint for the vast majority.
Yeah.
But there's some people that are just kind of angsty little contrarians like me that someone tells them to do something, I'm just be like, no, hell no, I'm going to do the opposite. They're like, here, take the safe path. Here, do the stuff that's comfortable. I'm like, no, just out of spite. But you have it just being presented with the opportunity kind of is a paradigm shift. You're like, oh, I'm a manager. I'm crushing this role because that's who I am.
Yep.
But an opportunity presented itself because of your work ethic and how you've built yourself up and your skill sets. And you're like, oh, maybe I am seeing myself, you can start seeing yourself as an owner. And then kind of tell us a little bit more about that transition and the skill set that you had to learn to become.
So before we get into that, I want to touch, because this is a good topic, and I want to come back because I want to hear more about that. I do. But I like that you had sort of that different journey. But what would you tell somebody who right now, if they're just getting started, but they're like kind of not at the point of starting their own company yet, and they're like, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to own a business. Is there something to be said about like right now, if you can't do that yet, just master and own the role you're in? Or is there something to be said
100%.
about like just keep working on getting out of that to do what you want to do?
No, absolutely not.
That's a good question.
Once you're an entrepreneur, well, you're out there on your own, right? If you don't have that I own this shit right now attitude, you're never going to have, right? Like you have to do the best with every single opportunity that you have, right? And if you're not doing that right now, you're not going to be a great entrepreneur, right? You're screwed, man. Like if you're
just brutally honest.
if you have somebody that's telling you what to do,
Yeah.
and you're not able to take that and get motivated to do a great job, you're screwed when you get out there on your own.
That's
100%
point blank.
Clip
That's
You're
just,
screwed.
I mean,
Clip that.
Yeah. Just think about it. If you can't even do your very narrow, specific job, how
Life is good when you're an employee.
Yeah.
All you gotta do what you're told.
do a very narrow scope of work. Like here's your job description. It's 10, 15 bullet points.
Yeah.
If you're handed an entrepreneurial position and you're like, here's your new job description, it's just like a freaking scroll.
Yeah.
So yeah, being an entrepreneur, I've heard that term a bunch.
Yes,
like
100%.
If you're a manager, if you're a supervisor, treat it like, okay, pretend if this was my business, how would I run it? You know, and
Right.
then even though like
Hell
you can't
yeah.
make your own decisions, you can't make all the decisions as a 60K manager. Just pretend, like just treat it like that. Like try to like prepare your mind for eventually, if you want to be an entrepreneur one day. That's like when I was a project manager, I would make all these judgment calls, and then I would
Right.
go to my boss and be like, "Here's what I'm thinking." Like, what do you?
Yeah.
And he loved it because he's like, "Oh,
It's way better.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
you're
way
critical
better.
thinking. You're coming with solutions." So like when I stepped out on my own and did my own thing in real estate, it's like, oh, I've already been kind of like taking my reps in a safe environment of, you know, I have my salary, I'm not gonna get fired. They need me too much, you know.
Right.
But like, yeah, prepping yourself. I love that you're just like, you're screwed.
Entrepreneur until you can entrepreneur.
100%.
Yeah.
That entrepreneur is one of the coolest things I've heard. It starts there. I mean,
Yeah.
it starts, you know, we have to learn that from the beginning, your first job, you know, whether you're 13 like I was or you know, you're out of high school, right? Like you have to start taking ownership for your responsibilities, right? And start thinking outside of just that. And that's what I look for in my employees, right? The guys should just go get the job done. They're a dime a dozen, right? But the guys that go out and provide a great experience, that are just really great people, those are guys I'm like, man, I want to work with these guys forever. What's the next opportunity that I can provide for them? And in my experience, like that's what business owners are usually thinking. I haven't met very many greedy ones that don't want to spread the wealth, right?
Yeah.
That don't want to move people forward. And so to everybody just getting started out, own your position, man. Do the best that you possibly can. And I promise that people will notice. I think so often young people, young guys especially, have this chip on our shoulder that kind of closes us off from opportunity, right? We don't want to be the Boy Scouts because the Boy Scouts aren't cool, right? We want to be the rebels, right? And you know, the second that we can help them make that shift, the sky becomes the limit, right?
Yeah.
They open themselves up to opportunity just by having a positive attitude and working hard and getting after it.
Yeah.
And
It
it's
doesn't
like that's
cost anything extra to
just
to be
own
honest.
it.
Yeah.
Own it, man. And
Yeah.
and you're gonna move forward. That's just the way that it goes.
So in that position, to someone who is like a mid-level manager or something, maybe has that goal, maybe doesn't yet, but either way, yeah, own the position, bust your ass. Think about what like the owner would want you to do. Like think about if it was your company,
100%.
how would you want the guy in your position to act?
Yep.
You know, and yeah, like you said, the owners would definitely notice that kind of thing. They're like, oh, this guy's like acting like I would if I was the owner and I had an employee that was just acting like an owner, you know, but still like doing what I told him, obviously, but like, but like
taking ownership of their position.
yeah, like just being like, what would the owner want of me, and treating it like if this was my company, like treating it like you own the company and
Right.
having that level of like passion for it.
Yep.
It's hard. It's hard to just manufacture because it's not your company, but you have to like get your mind right and think like, okay, how can I impress this boss?
Right.
Because by doing that, I am also building my own skills and building myself. So it's a win-win. It's not like brown nosing. It's not a bad thing. It's how do I build my skill set to the point where I can be an owner someday?
Yeah. And I mean, I tell my guys in interviews all the time, like, you know, your job is you're a mover, a driver, you're gonna move furniture, but once in a while, I'm gonna ask you to sweep the floors or take the garbage out or clean the bathrooms. And I promise you that every single one of those questions is a job interview, right? Every single time you do one of those tasks that's outside of your normal job description, it's a job interview for the future. Like, are you a guy that I'm gonna be moving forward? What seat do you deserve on the bus here?
Yeah.
How willing are you to do the
Yeah. And at what level are you going to do it? Right? Is there
Yeah.
still poop on the toilet when you're done? Or is that thing, could I eat off of it? Right? Like, and it's disappointing when I've said that in the interview and then, it's not the best job cleaning the bathroom, but it's awesome when they take it to heart and you can really see it and we know where they belong on the bus.
Nice.
Just, it's free, a good attitude, a strong work ethic. And that's something we do see a lot up here in the, in the Midwest, in the upper Midwest, the Arctic tundra. We see that, it's not for everybody, obviously, but if you're listening to this and you want to get ahead, it's free. It takes a little extra effort and thoughtfulness, but it's just something you can add in and start doing today.
This is the first thing that you can do. Just have a positive attitude, be open to opportunity. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like how does a kid growing up in a trailer, looking back as a business owner now, like when you reflect on that journey, because we're still young guys, we're still young bucks, so there's still a lot of life left to go, but like just looking back at how far you've come and how does growing up like that kind of form your mindset about money and work ethic and achievement?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you in 10 years. Maybe 20, when I have a little bit better hand on it. But like, I always believed that I had to work myself for anything that I was going to make, right? So it was always, how hard can I work, and that's great. Built a great work ethic, right? But it didn't, you can't possibly work hard enough to earn as much money as you're going to need to sustain your family, right? Your money's going to need to work for you, or you're going to need other people to work for you. And, I didn't learn that until, it was after I was already with 2 Men in a Truck, read a book, right? And, but I just wanted to help people. I like leading people. And so like that financial side never really caught up. Like I just wanted to be a good person and help people. I think the biggest change for me in this journey has been in leadership and how I interact with my employees and my customers, by far and away. In Rochester as the operations manager, it allowed me to, I was very, very hard, right? It was, I had a job to do. I do a good job. You're not going to prevent me from doing a good job, and so it was like every single thing, it was easy to have that level of accountability. And then when I came up here as an owner, and I'm still an employee, right? I still work as a general manager and I've got partners that I'm responsible to, but that shifted for me to like, man, I'm responsible for these guys and their livelihoods and their families. And I probably took that a little bit too hard. And so it became hard for me to have accountability for these people I felt so responsible for. Like it was hard to suspend somebody and not pay them, even though they're messing up and costing us a ton of money, because I felt beholden to them, right? Or however you want to say
responsible,
that. Yeah. And so that's been one of the biggest challenges is with that accountability piece and learning how to be a good father, right? You gotta love your kids and hold them accountable.
Oh yeah,
right? And
tough love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tough love, but it's also gentle parenting and like, we got Gen Z. And so it's like, yeah, so that's been the biggest thing. I mean, like financially read some books, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
that's a banger. The
Yeah.
OG banger. The purple book.
Eric's
Dave
mentioned
Ramsey,
it a couple times.
Yep.
I keep it on me at all times.
Yeah. And so, we just started making some better financial decisions and thank God the business has been doing well, right? So my lack of financial acumen before this, maybe I'm not as where I could be, but we're going to be just fine. And, we're really learning a lot as we're going. And so found some good people to help out, got a financial advisor. And so I don't even worry about it. I don't care that I don't know because he knows.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only be an expert in so many things. You can only spend your time on so much, so there's a lot to be said about spending your time on like people call it like your zone of genius or like your talented stuff. Or I just say like spend your time doing your highest and best skill, like your income producing activity and like let someone else do your accounting or your marketing. Like if you're not, you're kind of wasting your time, but that's when you get into like a business efficiencies and that's after you've built high value skills. But I like what you said, like getting into it, like leadership and like, that's a really difficult one for people to learn. It's not an easy skill.
Oh, I struggled with that all the time when I was managing the production facility. I mean,
it's hard.
My first 2 years here. So,
I struggled with
Don't
it
open
so
that
bad,
box,
but
man.
my first 2 years up in Fargo, I drive an hour into work every day. And so, I mean, every single day I was just listening to leadership books. So everything by John Maxwell, I mean, just consuming as much as I possibly could. David Goggins, Jocko Willink, just consuming it. And, the law of the lid, right? Your leadership level determines your level of success, right? And so that's been the biggest focus for me. Yeah.
Nice. So having done both sides of it, you work Rochester, you managed, you did all this other stuff. Now you're here. Being an entrepreneur now, thoughts on like the 9-to-5 job? Would you ever go back to a 9-to-5 job?
Yeah, for you and then for the listener and for the average person.
So I think that the 9-to-5 job teaches you discipline. right? You have to go. It's a drill. It's a grill. You have to do it over and over and over, right? So I think that there's a purpose for that. I think that everybody should have a 9-to-5 job at some point, right? My children, hopefully they'll be business owners or whatever, but they're going to have a 9-to-5 job at some point. I think that you got to get used to it. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think it's super necessary.
Would you ever go back?
No. I can't. No, I mean, I could probably go back to working for somebody again, but this freedom, and there's no such thing as freedom in business, right? You got employees, you're not free. You can't just not go to work, right? You can't not be there, but it's still there, right? And so I can manage my schedule, and we've got my daughter's science fair this afternoon, right? So I couldn't have the life that I have now, 4 kids and, all of that, and go back to a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
That would be very tough. And it's richest man in Babylon. Like, you can't work enough to have the life that you want. You need your money or people to work for you.
Oh, I love that. I love some of those TikToks or the Instagram reels where they're like, this is how many years you'd have to work to make how much Jeff Bezos makes in a day or something like that. It's just depressing. So if you're listening to this, don't go out and watch that. Yeah. But it illustrates the same point. You can only get so far working at an hourly rate. And like, you can build your skills so your hourly is worth more. But if you're in the 9-to-5,
it's still not going to be enough.
Yeah.
Now, like, and that's not to say that people can't be successful that work in factories, right? You can work in a factory 40 years and be successful, but you have to invest that money.
Yeah.
Right.
If that money's coming out and getting spent, you're not going to go anywhere. But if you put that money to work, pretty soon it grows, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the compound interest. And so that money's working for you. But you can't just take your 9-to-5 and have that go into your life. And that's what you're spending, right? Like, that's just, it's never going to work. You have to either have your money working or you have to have people that work for you.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. There's just very little margin for error when you're making $20 an hour for your whole life. Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to tuck away any real substantial money, even to invest, even if the whole thing is like growing exponentially and it's compounding like in an IRA or something.
Right.
If you're only putting in $50 a month for the 40 years, it's not going to, like, that's your retirement. It's going to be really tough,
right?
So you're gonna have to work side hustles or find better investments or something like that. But yeah, it's tough, and like a lot of us come to that realization working a day job. One, like, you're in a cubicle looking around, you're like, oh, it's this for 30 years. Like, so it's the psychological point,
right?
But also practically, like you said, like, you have to.
You're just building it for somebody else,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking at your own retirement, you have to have that investment. You have to tuck money away, which is hard for a lot of people because it's
I couldn't do it.
Lower
it was
quality
impossible
of work
back then.
Yeah, and then like you're buying less stuff today. Like, your daughter needs braces, so you have to take out of your 401k or you put less in. It's like there's so many things that if you just had like a higher skill set, higher paying job, it would like kind of smooth out some of those rough edges.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's great advice.
What do you think the biggest
the dramatic pause
misconception about like entrepreneurs and business owners is?
I kind of touched on it before, like that we get to do whatever we want. Right? That we don't, like, we're not responsible to anybody in the business, right? Like, your employees have more control over you. My employees have more control over me than your boss does. I guarantee it, right? I'm more beholden to them because if I decide I'm not going to show up, right? If I decide to take an unplanned vacation, the morale of the entire business is impacted, right? Even though, like, yes, I can step out or a lot of my stuff can be remote. If I'm not there, eventually they're going to stop giving a shit.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, it's not, there's not as much freedom as you'd expect, right? If my phone rings and it's a number that I don't quite recognize, whenever I have to answer it because it could be a customer emergency. One of my trucks, something bad could have happened, right? And so, like, I'm never really off, but I'm also working for myself all the time. Yeah. So I'm never really working either, right? It's like being a farmer, right? Farmers don't work, they just live. That's just life, right? And so being an entrepreneur, like, I don't really work. It's just life. I'm just building, right? And so, I would say that it's not free. Right?
Yeah.
There's not as much freedom.
I think it's
as people
Gary
assume.
V actually had like a YouTube video about that where he talks about, like, as a business owner or an entrepreneur, like, if you want to be a great leader, a great entrepreneur, like, you have to understand that you work for your employees, not the other way around.
Yeah, we have to serve the people that we're leading. 100%.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. I mean, that was a big book for us.
It's crazy how, like, you're out there on your own in entrepreneurship. Like you said, if you don't have like that self-motivation and stuff, it's going to be really hard on you.
Yep.
And a lot of the times, like, you're just out there, you're making all the decisions, you're like all the success, all the failures on your shoulders.
Right.
But you're thinking of every scenario. You're like constantly like worrying and like strategizing and planning to have someone just have that clear voice, that trainer, that someone like just comes and is like, hey, you need to like do this, and this, and I'm going to kick your ass if you don't. You're like, okay, like that clarity, what a lot of entrepreneurs crave, because they're out there just creating. And like, they don't know, like I tell Dan all the time, like there's no right answer. There's no right or wrong. There's no guarantee or anything. So if someone just like knows and they can help kind of like, oh, that's kind of nice. Cause you kind of do miss a little bit of the 9 to 5 that
structure,
way.
right?
Yeah.
Like a little bit of the,
So like someone telling you exactly what to do is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Well,
because you don't have to think too hard.
We've had a lot of guys talk about like they even like we had Carter Brower on who owns Window World, like
Another
successful
franchisee.
guy. Yeah, very successful guy. But even he talked about like having a coach.
right.
And like like doing that stuff.
100%.
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah, no, I think
talked about it,
it's super important to have.
But that
have those
hard
people.
edge is kind of like, it resonates with a lot of guys. You know, it's not like people want to be held, like holding your hand and doing it for you. It's like, no, I don't want that. I want someone to be like, I know, Hutch, I know you're going to be able to do this. I just need you to like do these steps, or I'm going to like bust your ass about it.
Right. It's like, I wouldn't,
Accountability, you know?
I wouldn't need Simon Sinek as a boss, right? But I would love to have David Goggins as that guy leading me, right? Like that's who it would take to, to really get me fired up and to really connect and
Pull that performance out of
Exactly.
you. And you
Right,
want to be a
like,
high performer.
I wouldn't need to
Yeah.
be coddled into it. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
that's not, different style there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start coming with a whistle in your office like 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
20 push-ups
I'm down here working before you are.
some days.
Some days.
Some
Most days you're up and out of the house before I'm.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So when you were getting started, did you have people that like kind of gave you advice along the way, and like we were just talking, like pointed you in the right direction, or gave you like a little nugget of advice that worked well for you, or or was it a lot of just like figuring it out as you go?
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of a franchise system, right? So I got a lot of the technical education through 2 Men in a Truck and the corporate side of things. But, I think Mike Reps, my business partner, he came in and, he was a young guy like me, but he was living a Christian life and he was just very wise. And, I've always been a very kind of angry, like that's how I managed, right? Like I was always like, why would you do that? What are you doing? And, and so he came in and he helped just kind of calm me down in that aspect. Like my principles were correct. I wanted good things for good people. I was pissed off that they weren't doing these things because it was hurting them, but he helped, just kind of guide that differently. And, I think honestly, like listening to podcasts and books, right? I think that like, there's a lot you can gain from that. If you don't have that person, and not everybody does. And I didn't when I was young, right? I didn't have that person to talk to mentor me, but there's a lot of books and there's a lot of podcasts and there's a lot of, information out there that can serve as that mentor until you find the right person. Because I mean, a lot of people are willing to be a mentor, but they'd be terrible, right? They're not the right one for you.
A lot of people would be great mentors, but aren't willing.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, you just have to keep looking and just keep seeking the wisdom.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, dude.
That's awesome.
That nailed it, dude. Just seek out the wisdom, be a lifetime learner.
100%.
If you're looking for it, it's out there.
Yeah.
You just go to Spotify, you go to Millionaire, Misfits, and then
right there.
Then you're basically a millionaire automatically, like overnight success.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
I love those memes that are like, I'm on day 4,000 of being an overnight success, and it shows them like working hard, doing something. I'm like, love that.
Yeah.
That's more realistic.
So like with the advice that you got and stuff, what do you think keeps a lot of people from just getting started?
I mean, just knowing it's possible. Like before I had the offer of sweat equity ownership, I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, maybe I'd heard of it, but I never.
You're saying like people don't know that you can just do this stuff.
Yeah. Like,
okay. I was like, knowing it's possible. I'm like, wouldn't that encourage you to do it? But I had misunderstood there. So okay.
Like I didn't know that you could do that. I'd never heard of it. I mean, maybe I'd heard of it like back in the 1800s or something. I don't know. But like, I didn't know it was something that was still happening. And so I think you have to ask. I've talked to operations managers and things like that throughout the system of 2 Men in a Truck, and they're working at franchises. They're doing a great job. These are studs, right? And I'm like, have you ever talked to your franchisee about, wanting to be a franchisee? Like, no. Like, well, ask. You never know. Like, I can see it. Like, I mean, you're more qualified to be a franchisee than I am.
Yeah.
If this guy wouldn't hear you out, I don't know what he's thinking.
Right.
Right. And you want to talk to some of my partners, I can get you their contact info. Right. Like, and so ask the questions. Right. But you have to own the position you're in first.
Yeah.
Right. You have to be humble enough to kill it where you're at before you ever think to say, hey, would you ever
consider
moving me forward?
Yeah, that's so funny. Like, be humble enough and be good at your position enough to be like a candidate for a business owner. but then you don't want to be too humble to where you're not exploring your
So that you
options.
don't ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You don't want to be like, well, they'll approach me, because not everyone's going to approach you. You know,
Yeah.
like not every person is just going to have an opportunity fall in their lap. So yeah, explore your options. Like if you are not sure or haven't thought about it, just spend time, carve out time exploring what could possibly.
You know, and like I love when I'm doing an interview and I have a guy and I say, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years? Now I want to own a business. So, okay, great. I want to get promoted. Great. Like I know where you want to go. Like time will tell if you're actually headed that direction or not. Right. But like if I don't know that, I'm not going to pay as much attention, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
Like I might not see things, like things might not stick out to me. So just by sharing it, hey, I want to move forward in this company. I've only been here 2 days. Like, great, man. Let's see what you can do. Go clean that bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? Let's see what you're all about.
Yeah.
That's so funny, because like when you say, I want to be a business owner in 5 years or something like that, and then your boss says, great, go clean a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
My reaction would be like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like I want to be like developing my skills and I want all these big things, but like this guy's asking me to go clean a bathroom. Like that's clearly a test. You know, like it's a test.
Yeah.
Don't let your ego get in the way. That was my big thing. Like it kind of still is, but like letting someone say, fine, I'll go clean a bathroom. Fine. I'll go clean it 20 times. It's not the bathroom. It's not like degrading at all. It's like it's an attitude check. Like your boss is just probing, just testing you to see like, he's not like wanting you to clean the bathroom for the rest of your life. It's like, what's this guy willing to do for the business?
And it's all about, a lot of it is initiative, you know, like there's, I've
bathroom's
heard
already clean, boss. I am one step ahead of you. Like, could you imagine?
But like I've heard this theory of like where, you know, somebody pukes in the hallway, right? And like 9 out of 10 people like walk by it because they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I feel like entrepreneurs, like people that have that drive to do that stuff, they're going to clean it up because it's gross and they don't want to deal with it. But also it's just initiative. Like you're doing what needs to be done.
100%.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of fun too, where you're like, you kind of get to check that little box in your head. Like, I'm the person that did it when no one else wanted to.
Yeah.
And even though it would be something weird or gross, you're like, well, I'm the one that did it and no one else, like everyone else passed up. That's kind of a fun little.
To speak to that, I don't do a lot of moving anymore. Right. I'll get called out once in a while if it's a pretty unique situation. And we got a unique situation like 2 years ago. There was an apartment building. And so everybody got evacuated, and then the building needed to be torn down. Right. Which is fine, except for all the appliances need to be brought out, all the refrigerators, stoves, everything like that before it can be done. Well, they'd all been sitting in there in the summer. Actually, it was it was September. So it was after bow hunting. And so they'd all been sitting there for 4 or 5 days. And we needed to get all these refrigerators and things out, freezers full of meat and stuff. And so
power off, right?
Yeah.
Powers off.
Off, right? So these are rancid. But it's a big opportunity because there's 20 apartments, right? But it's a disgusting opportunity. And so they got a hold of me on this one. I took the sales call and I was like, I don't know if my guys will do this, so I'll do it and then I'll find a volunteer. And so on that, like sometimes like you have to be the guy that's willing to do the nastiest thing in order to get it done. And it was gross, man.
So going back to,
but are you glad you did it? And like,
oh yeah, man. Like my team knows that like I'll go get it done.
Yeah.
I don't like if I do that once in a while, do the hardest, worst thing once in a while, I don't have to do it every day.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to do it every month.
Right.
Right? Like they know that I'll go out and I'll move 20 gross ass refrigerators if I have to.
That's awesome.
That's a good leader, like leading by example, showing like I've done this. I'm willing to do it. I'm not better than any position here.
Yep. 100%. And we tell all of our guys that like we promote from within, right? So my operations manager started as a mover. My junk general manager started as a mover. All of our positions, I mean, we always promote from within. And so we're literally not asking you to do anything that we haven't. Guys will come in and I'll say, what is something that's important to you in a manager? Right. And they'll say, understanding. I say, I'm very understanding. I understand exactly what you're going to go through, man. I understand exactly what it's like to be a young man. I understand exactly what it's like to be a mover out there with hard customers or shitty days or hot, cold, whatever. The other thing though that I understand is what it takes to go from being a 25-year-old with no direction, no purpose to owning a couple of businesses. Right. So that like, I don't feel sorry for you. Right? I'll help you. Like you want to know the path, I'll move you forward. But I understand that you're only where you're at because of your limitations. You're limiting yourself, your attitude, your decisions, right? Like I understand it completely, fellas.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because a lot of entrepreneurs are exactly like that,
Yeah.
you know. And so if you approach one, you're like, "Hey, I have this work ethic and I have this desire." People will help you. You know, you just have the work ethic and the desire, and you can show like if you're asking for advice or mentorship or anyone's time. like they'll give it to you because like people generally want to help if you have like a good head on your shoulders and you're willing to do what
Right.
like take action on their
Yeah.
advice. So like just if you're going to approach someone or if you're wanting to get promoted from within, like work hard and have a great attitude and be smart. And like that's really like the foundation.
For people that want to, they're in that spot right now. They're
Mhm.
a mover or whatever. They want to own a business in 5-10 years, whatever it is. What would you say is like the most important skill that they can work on developing right now?
Networking.
Networking?
By far and away.
Sweet.
Well, or leadership. I mean, kind of hand in hand. Communication. I guess you could really
Yeah.
boil it down to that,
Yeah.
right? Like be able to communicate what you need to your staff and your people and be able to communicate what you're offering to the community.
Yeah.
Networking is a muscle. You got to flex it. You got to work it out. It can atrophy
Yeah.
as you don't practice. And at the same time, you can kind of get weary from it as well, right?
Yeah.
You give the same commercial too many times in a row, you start forgetting where you talk to people about what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
really good advice.
One of the biggest things we like to ask is like, what is one thing that somebody can go out and do this week, tomorrow, over the next couple weeks, whatever it is, to just get them one step closer? Like it doesn't have to be from,
Yeah.
A to Z. But
Go
what is
visit a
one
networking
thing?
group.
Networking group.
Visit a networking
Okay.
group. I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in a lot of networking groups, right? And we've had high school students come in. We've had people that were just like low level employees, whatever. And every one of them walked out of that meeting with more opportunities than they walked
Yeah.
in with. Right.
Yeah.
Every single one. Right. Because if you're a high school student and you walk into a networking group, right? Like everybody's like, oh my gosh, look at this kid. Look at the initiative that they're showing.
Yeah.
Right. It does like it takes so much bravery to show up and stand up in front of strangers that like that's the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Right. Just get introduced. Right. Hey,
Yeah.
like I'm just an employee. I'm just here to visit. Like this is what I do for these guys. Just want to check it out.
yeah.
Right.
That's
Like
awesome.
we're like every group that I've been a part of, we'll welcome you.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to join, like you just want to come and visit, come check out what we do. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, here in Fargo, we have a pretty welcoming community.
it's super welcoming, man. And like that's the biggest thing. So like when I moved up here, we didn't have a reputation, right? So I'm going to all these
Yeah.
networking groups. This is what 2-Man Truck's about. We hadn't done a damn move yet, right?
Yeah.
But like they could tell that I was driven and that I was serious about what we were doing, and by following through with that, we've had tremendous success.
Yeah. That's huge.
Love that
Super
advice
cool.
too. It's free. It
Yeah.
doesn't take a whole ton of time.
No.
And even if you're an introvert, you can still walk away with you build
It's
relationships.
even more important when you're an introvert.
Yeah.
Right? It's even more important because if you can't communicate, if you can't get that out,
Mm-hmm.
you're just limiting yourself. And so BNI, Business Network International, that was my first introduction to networking. And we had our marketer down in Rochester went, and before joining BNI, she really couldn't speak very clearly. It was a lot of likes and ums and just very valley girl. And it was like, to the point it was obnoxious. Like it was
Yeah.
hard to listen to her sometimes, even though she was very smart.
Mm-hmm.
But then she went to this BNI for a year, and she just got so much more professional. It was
Mhm.
awesome. So there is a ton of benefit to these engagements where you're publicly speaking, where
Mhm.
you're selling yourself, you're talking about yourself. I was at a networking group this morning, and we were talking about, what's it going to look like in 10 years? What's the world going to look like as AI has continued to grow and has taken over so many more jobs, and the ability to communicate,
Mhm.
network, and connect is never going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
never going anywhere.
It's even more important with all that. Yeah.
There's so many jobs that are going
Yeah.
to be obsolete. The ability to connect and communicate is going to be that much more important.
Well, even if you're an introvert,
Mhm.
networking doesn't necessarily mean you have to go give a spiel about yourself and sell
No.
yourself to
Yeah, it's more
people for an
structured.
hour straight.
Yeah.
You can go and listen
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
like, introduce yourself, but
Yeah.
like you can go and listen and get
You don't have to be
so
JT
much
Froning
value.
in yellow pants.
Yeah.
Hey, guys,
Yeah.
legacy. You don't
Yeah.
have to like, and most people aren't.
right.
Right? Just introduce yourself, and then the real magic doesn't happen in those big meetings where everybody's sitting there, right?
Yeah.
The real magic happens when you sit down and do one-to-one meetings, right?
Mhm.
You sit down, you listen to everybody who's
You
there.
get
It's like,
Qdoba
okay,
with people.
that person, exactly. You go get Qdoba, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Eric, he's in real estate. Like, that could be a great connection, right?
Yeah.
We're not gonna, we didn't really talk about that in the meeting. I don't even think I mentioned like, hey, 2-man junk truck, we could really help you out,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's not something you should do. Even.
Yeah.
That's not effective, right? But then set up the one-to-ones, build the relationships, and then naturally, those opportunities will come from
Mhm.
them. I mean, people use business when they're friends with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Networking is such a critical tool. I mean, when you go to one of these networking events, I'll just add these little couple things because I like the power of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're just building relationships and you're making friends. You're like going out there and you're like, oh, like there's 50 people at this networking thing. and I like write down all their names, what they do, and then like 2 or 3, if I can meet like one really good new contact, like I consider that a win.
Yep.
And like I don't have to go and talk to 50 people. I can just get an idea of who like would be cool to have lunch with and like meet up with them. And then if I can establish one good contact every time I go,
Yep.
that's great. And then you just get a pick from like a buffet almost. Like you get there, you're like, oh, this guy seems cool. I'm gonna have lunch with him. And then you become friends. And then like another big component of networking is once you build a relationship, you don't even have to do a ton of business together or any really. You can access that person's network now.
Oh yeah, that's the
it's
thing.
like
That's the
crazy exponential growth. Like now that, okay, we had lunch. We're buddies now. We do a podcast. We're basically best friends.
besties.
But if like now we've had a couple of good conversations, now I can kind of like, hey, do you have any solutions for this moving problem? You know, if I have a problem in my business as a young entrepreneur, you're another resource that I can tap.
Well, that's cool. But like the coolest part is that when one of your associate has something that I can solve, right? Now that you and I have that relationship, now you're going to bring me up. But before the relationship, why would you? I mean, 2 Minute Truck is amazing. You should refer us to
Obviously,
everybody. And always shout us from rooftops. But before that relationship, it's not called to memory right away. Right.
Well, and I don't know firsthand too. Like after getting to know you, I know how you treat your employees, run your business, show up for everyone, your clients and stuff. Yep. So now I can legit go out and be like, I know these guys do a good job because this is what their leadership does. And this is, so like it's a legit referral. Yeah. But like, there's 1,000 people standing behind me that might need a truck one day. Yeah. And there's 1,000 people
behind each one of them.
Right. Yeah.
It's exponential. I mean, like it's so important. And you said relational. A one-to-one networking meeting can be relational or it can be transactional. Right. Yeah. And if it's transactional, you might sell them one time. Right. You might sell that house. I might sell that one move. Something like that. But what I found is when we focus on being relational, like when I tell my managers go do some networking, it's like go find a friend, right? Like that's the most important part. I don't say go find the realtors, make sure every realtor gets your card, right? Just go find somebody that you can get along with well, somebody that you think you can go get a beer with, go golfing with, find some people that you can connect with, because at the end of the day, those are going to be the referral sources. Those are going to be the people that are going to be the walking billboards for you.
Yeah, exactly. Moral of the story: don't be intimidated to show up to a networking thing. It's way bigger net benefit than it is scary. And you make friends, and like you look back and you're like, oh man, I made all these friends and they all like stemmed from some random networking event that I went to.
And the networking, it's planting seeds, right? Yeah. And you can't harvest in the same season that you plant. It's always there's always a delay, right? And so even if you're just an employee, there's no reason to not start. If you have a vision for something for more for yourself in the future, just start. Right. Just start expanding those networks, because otherwise we're just limited to the knuckleheads that we hung around with in high school. Right. Yeah. And I love you guys, but like we have to expand that reach and expand that network. And again, get that exponential, like the quantum computing style of network.
They say that your net worth is your network. So like the more you surround yourself with the people like you want to be. If you're like your 5-year plan is to be a multi-millionaire, successful, you want to donate $1 million to a certain charity that's close to your heart. You're not going to get that hanging out with your buddies, drinking on the weekends that you have, like you grew up with or whatever. Right. Like your friend group changes over time as you change over time. You are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most, is what I've been told, and it seems to be true. It seems like the more you can surround yourself with high performers, people that like they take action based on their values and not their whims or their like random sporadic thoughts, that's the huge power of just like surrounding yourself, and it just keeps you accountable 100%. Too. But you might feel like a misfit going into your first networking event, So like that kind of leads me into one of my next questions is, what was your biggest misfit moment? Something that you felt like imposter syndrome in over your head, or like you have no freaking clue what you're doing. Misfit moment.
That whole first year, I felt like I still feel like I'm in over my head. But like, there was no results at that point.
Yes.
Right. So like I was doing all this networking. I'd never actually been to a networking meeting when I'd started 2 Minute Truck Fargo, and I had to go to these, and I didn't know that it was working. I mean, that first 6 months, like you don't get traction. It doesn't just like pop off, even with the franchise and even with all the marketing, there's no guarantees. And so that was tough. And, my wife at that time was commuting back to Rochester. She hadn't found her job in DL yet. And so because she was a nurse, she'd work 3 10s in a row or 4 10s or whatever. She'd just commute back and forth and stay down with some family. And so like we're doing all this and we'd move our family, and she had her dream job. We had a great support system. We moved them up, and now it's shit. I don't know if this is working.
Yeah.
To not have instant results. results is scary.
There's no instant gratification, right? And like you put a budget together, but when it's a brand new market, you're just like, throwing some spaghetti,
but
right?
you guys made it.
We made it. No, it was amazing. It really was. And like, it was probably 7 months in, we realized like we had the traction. I was like, all right, I'm outpacing in Rochester what we did that first year. I know we're doing well, but that first 6 months was tough living on the south side of Moorhead.
Just like white knuckling it, you know, like
dude, it was, I was questioning myself often. And then
that's a very entrepreneurial experience, I feel like.
And then we had tremendous growth. So we were always doing this, and I was expanding my support staff, making sure that our customer experience was as close to perfect as it could possibly be, and making sure that none of my people were too stressed out. And we had enough people. And so last year I came into the year with 8 support staff, and we ended up just not doing very well. And so this year we're down to 4 support staff. And, it's just the profitability is completely flipped the other direction. Wow. So, last year I was like, God, I'm an idiot. I can't forecast at all. And like, I clearly don't know what I'm doing as a businessman. And, praise God, I still got a job, right? And I learned the lessons, right? It was like quick, like, okay, well, I need to not hire for what I think the business is going to be tomorrow, but hire for what the business is today, right? And if tomorrow's busier than that, thank God. But just don't put the cart before the horse. And it's a good year so far.
It really speaks to like the balancing too. It's like it's hard to be like perfectly balanced with work versus having the employees to handle the work that doesn't exist yet. So. But okay, so on the flip side of the coin, millionaire moment, this is like when you feel like everything kind of comes together, like when a plan comes together, or you execute or you hit a big goal or something like that.
Yeah, so we placed in AIE, it stands for Achievements in Excellence at the 2-Minute Truck System. And so basically the top 16 franchises across the system, and there's 400 of us. Wow. And so we placed in that last year. And at that point, I was actually a year sober. It was nice. I had that anniversary right about the same time that I accepted the award. And so like that was when like I got this figured out, right? Like I got the personal life figured out, and this business thing, it's big and it's beautiful and it's going well, and we're being recognized within the system. And 2-Minute Truck, it's a great system. I mean, there's high performers, and so being able to beat out some of those guys and just maybe I do know what I'm doing. That's awesome. Then we got into last year and I realized again that I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
There's always going to be moments like that. Though. Like, no matter where you get to, like,
right.
Like we were talking before Dan hit record, before Dan.
The nuggets. The good ones. Yeah.
It's never perfectly linear growth. You don't know exactly what tomorrow is going to look like. You don't know how the next year is going to go. Like you want it to go to the moon tomorrow. And that's just not the reality. Like there's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it's like, you're treading water one day. It's never an easy layup. It's always you think you're doing good, and then like, oh, you backslid a little bit, and then you think you're doing really good, and then you forget to line out a line item on an invoice or something, and then you end up paying for $5,000.
It's like anytime you think it's going really good, just get prepared for a kick in the nuts.
But is it worth it? End of the day,
yeah.
It's a rugged road. It's a lot of self-doubt and it's a lot of anxiety and a lot of unknowns. But would you do it again? I mean, I remember when you were at lunch, you're like, man, it was a ton of work. I'm like, would I move my whole family up here again and go through all that stuff? Like,
so actually
it's harder to know.
Looking back on that then, so there's a question that kind of got developed over some of these episodes. When you were starting out and like going through, like realizing you don't know everything, but back when you were first starting out, if you had to put a number to it, like a percentage, what amount of your fears that like you were worried about actually came true and like happened to you?
5%.
5%?
Yeah. It's all in your head.
That's awesome.
I love that
consistent.
question. Yeah. 5. It's like, okay, so expand on that a little bit.
I mean, everything works out, right? Like it's, I feel like we put a lot of anxiety out there. Like it's not going to work out. And I think that God's got a plan for us, and there's no reason to be that worried all the time, right? Like I think that it's as long as you're making good decisions for the right reasons, all that other stuff is just it's waste of energy to be anxious about it, right? Like trying to think of some of my fears, like fear it wasn't gonna work, right? Like fear I didn't know what I was doing, right? I obviously knew what I was doing, and it obviously worked. Those were the big things. Now, like fear a truck is gonna get in a wreck, right? A fear somebody's gonna get hurt. Those things have happened, right? But or you're afraid of having a hard conversation and terminating an employee, and those things happen. And at the end of the day, like it's just never as bad as we think it's going to be. Right. Like it just never is. I
we
think,
just psych ourselves up so bad.
yeah.
And it doesn't mean don't have a healthy fear. And it doesn't
Oh,
mean
by
like,
all means, it's there for a reason.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
be afraid, be very afraid. Do it anyways.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Do it anyways.
Just know that like your fear will fuel that hard work and like
Yes.
always like upgrading your skill set and stuff. Like that's, it's good to have that fear and it motivates people and just, or ambition or whatever. But like, just know that all that stuff that you think about, all the stuff you prepare for, like most of it is just not going to happen because it just won't happen. And two, you won't let it happen. So
Right.
there's a little bit of both those aspects going.
100%.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a good question.
It is. I like it.
But it doesn't mean like go in unprepared because you're 95% going to be successful,
No,
like guaranteed.
But, no, have anxiety, work your ass off to prevent problems, but just don't let it eat you up.
Yeah.
Right. Don't let it affect your health.
Don't let it stop you from getting
Don't
started.
let it not let you take the leap.
Do
right?
it anyway. I love that.
Do it anyways. Jason Isbell. Yeah, I forget the name of the song, but be afraid, be very afraid, but do it anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, wrapping up here, we got shout outs to people that you like want to give a little bit of credit for or helped you or during a pivotal moment, you know, like someone that you can say like this person had made a big impact on me. Like could be an influencer, could be personal relationships.
Or you could just take all the credit yourself and leave everybody else out of it.
Self-made man.
That's not me. Nobody is a self-made man. You know, I got to give all the credit to my wife. When I met her, I wasn't on the right path, and she just inspired me to get my act together. You know, everything that I do is for our family. It's for our legacy. And so a huge thank you to her. She had her dream job at Mayo Clinic, right? She was an RN. She's working with peds on the peds floor, and at Mayo Clinic, they got it made in the shade. You know, they've got teams to do everything for them. They don't have to work too hard. No offense, ladies. But and we had a great support system. All of our friends had babies, and it was really great. And she believed in me enough to come up here. And I told her, I was like, this is $1 million opportunity. This might be the only one I get. And if you want to be the breadwinner, like I'm okay with that. If you want to stay here in Rochester and this is a great life that we've got, and I'll do it, right? I'll be a manager someday and I'll make 60 grand and you can be the breadwinner and it'll be great, right? I'll be here and I'll support you. But I really think that I can take this and I can do it. And this is going to be $1 million opportunity for us. And she believed me.
That's sweet.
That's amazing,
awesome.
dude. That takes a level of like commitment, faith, and just ready to jump into the unknown. Cause that's a good job, you know? And what's your wife's name?
Stephanie. Yep.
Shout out Stephanie.
Shout out Mrs. Hutch.
Yeah, Mrs. Hutchins.
I mean, like not only for being like supporting you in that way. Cause I mean, you can get another job up here, but the Mayo they're all time.
Yeah, it's
and also shout out for all like the nursing workers out there, medical field workers, because my
Nurses
wife
Appreciation Week.
Is it right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, big shout out. The Mayo Clinic, dude, my wife had surgeries and had to go to the Mayo Clinic. So we are like firsthand appreciate so much because the nursing staff and it has all those systems and like support at the Mayo. They can provide
such a customer service level at Mayo Clinic is like wild.
The nurses were amazing there. And like, we still talk about some of our nurses, like from when she had surgery, when we were in like med surg recovery and stuff. Like, man, they were so like, we like sent thank you baskets after we left and like with like a little snacks and money in there because we're like because you're nursing. Okay, not to like make this a whole nursing thing, but shout out to those workers because they're changing people's lives. Probably more than this podcast. We're changing a lot of people's
Let's not get carried away.
No, they're like unsung heroes. They're
100%.
doing that. They're doing that shit every day, and it's stressful work.
Yeah.
It's emotional work, and you know, like we're just super grateful for those. It's a certain type of person that can do that job and do it well. So like, shout out Stephanie and all those other RNs doing awesome work. You know, it's we still talk about it, so it's definitely like.
You're noticed.
Yeah, it shout out. You know, hopefully a lot of people hear that too because it's appreciated and it's amazing. So like we need more of that too. So
for sure.
Was she still doing that work?
Yeah, so she's an RN out in Detroit Lakes at Essentia. She works with the pediatrics provider. So it's kind of fun.
Cool.
That's awesome. So
I take my kids in and get to see her at work. No, it's good.
Nice, dude. Sweet. Yeah. Shout out Stephanie. You guys are crushing it. You guys are doing a lot of impactful work. That's awesome.
Thank you.
For our listeners or like people that want to get started in entrepreneurship, do you have like books or influencers, podcasts, like anything that you would recommend? Like, hey, go check this out. It helped me. It might help you.
Yeah. So the first time I got to go to an annual meeting for 2 Minute Truck was it's down in Austin, Texas, and Jocko Willink was the keynote speaker. So extreme ownership. You know, at that point, I think I was a move manager, so I was like a foreman, right? And so I had some skills, but I really hadn't figured it out. And that book really, that's where I was talking about the ownership. Own your position. Think like an owner, right? So that was a huge catalyst for me. John Maxwell, 360 Leader, 21-year feudal laws of leadership. Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad and like
Babylon. Richest Man in Babylon.
Like all these are a lot of these are like free audiobooks on YouTube.
Dude,
too.
that's where I got them all. Like, cause
I
had somebody interviewing me for 2 Minute Truck and they said, "What podcast do you listen to?" I was like, "Dude, I don't listen to podcasts." So I felt convicted after I said that. I was like, "Oh, you really sounded pretty ignorant." So yeah, I started listening to podcasts and books, you know, just doing it free right on YouTube. And I mean, it changed everything, right? Like books will change it.
It's life. It is life-changing stuff. You just got to be open to seeking wisdom, like you said. And if it's mostly motivated to just not looking dumb to like someone you're interviewing, like that's fine too. Like whatever the reason is to like search out wisdom and give yourself options and stuff. Like that's what you need to do.
Yep. 100%.
Love that. I love that story. That was so funny when you told me. I don't listen to podcasts. Shit, now I have to go listen
Hit
to
send on it.
podcasts.
I hit send on that email and I was like, "Oh, you doofus." But
2 weeks later, like, I've been listening to this podcast,
I was like, "Hey, Brandon, guess what? I've been listening to this. Joe Rogan's awesome." Like, no, I felt convicted as soon as I hit send and I was like, "You dumbass."
Yeah.
Like, we better figure this out. Like, there was a reason he was asking that, but luckily he helped me save face and he didn't put that in the write up. So thank goodness. Thanks, Brandon.
Hutch, never listening to podcasts.
Never listened to a podcast in his life.
But yeah, whatever paradigm shift, whatever motivation, whatever light bulb, like if you're feeling that, go do it. You know, if you're like, "Oh, I should listen to the audiobook," just go do it. Go start it, you know, spend 5 minutes and you never know what it'll just like.
Honestly, even if you're not feeling it, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Right.
Just do it.
Like,
and if you're driving an hour a day or if you have any, if you're on a walk, like just throw on a podcast, listen to some boring podcast
are there
talk.
days where I listen to music on my way home or on my way to
No,
work?
never.
Yeah, there are, right? So I absolutely
Never have
like,
one personal indulgence.
It's still like, you have to have that in your mind. Like, how am I spending my time? Right? What am I consuming? The things that come in, come out. Right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
Spend a little bit more time having intentional things coming into your ears and eyes.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm screwed. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm
like
just kidding.
even if you have some mundane task, like if you're doing laundry, like or whatever, it doesn't have to be
Right.
all business. You could be like, "I'm going to listen to one episode of Millionaire Misfits." I keep plugging our show, and I just
Well
love
done.
it. I just love plugging this. So like,
Keep doing it.
listen to like one episode of your favorite podcast. And then, then listen to some sports updates. You know, like it could be 50-50. Just like integrate it somehow.
100%.
If you like one thing but don't like another, just like double down on the thing that was interesting to you. You know, like maybe leadership is your thing and you don't care about developing a skill that sounds boring. You know, like just focus on like whatever gets you going.
Well, I think there's something there to be said too. Like you said, like narrow it down. You know, you don't have to go listen to 100 hours of generic entrepreneur advice. Like if you want to learn to be a better leader, like you could do that. Even in there, it's like, do I want to be a better manager? Do I want to learn how to communicate better? Do I want to, you know, like there's so many things you can zero in on something that you have interest in and focus on that for a while.
Yeah. A topic or a style. Like when I was listening to Bigger Pockets, I was obsessed with the idea of like building something from like some loser like graduated middle of his class, like like I was like not a
when
good
you spend a lot of time
like
listening to
misfit.
yeah, when you spend a lot of time listening to a podcast, like you start to think like them or speak like them. So like I had to stop watching Joe Rogan because I was starting to look at the world through like the Rogan lens always, which is like it's not like the worst thing, but like I could hear him in my head, and I was like, I better expand my listening a little bit. Well, like, what would Joe do? You know?
So I listened to like 200 episodes of the Bigger Pockets podcast, and it's real estate based, sure. But like every guy on there and gal, like every person interviewed has a different style. They have different investment criteria. They have different investing like goals, ambitions. Everyone has different markets, so you kind of get like a little bit, you get like the whole array of options and you're like, ooh, I really like this guy's style. He's aggressive. He's a younger dude. And like that resonates with me.
Right.
But that's what I like about podcasts. We can listen to 20 of these episodes of our interviews, and like maybe you identify with one guy and their backstory, or like their way of doing something, or maybe they just, you know, something hit different. And like, boom, you're like, that's what I needed to hear in that right moment. And it's like, okay, like our first 5 you listen to, you like, you know, like it's not you. And then you hit this one, you're like, oh, Hutch, like that's my guy. Like, and that could be a life-changing moment, you know, and like he recommended this book, and I'm not a reader, but I'm going to read this book because Hutch is my guy, you know, and you just never know what, like when that paradigm shift or when that light bulb moment will hit. And like, that'll just pull something out of you. Cause for me, I barely have a degree in psychology, which is not even a major. It's not even like a real thing. But like, I mean, middle of my class in high school, I didn't think I was like exceptionally smart or anything, but listening to these podcasts, these guys built empires with basic math knowledge and just doing the right, like these very specific tasks in an order. So I'm like, this is a pretty simple puzzle to put together. Even I can do it. And like, when I came to the realization, like this is something I can do, and I believed it, I was like, I just got to execute now. And then it was like, it was easy to take action. It was easy to execute because I'm like bought in at that point.
We just brought it full circle. Bust your ass and own your position no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. And I was growing skills at my day job while I was like doing that on the side. And it was just, I knew what I like. Once I got that clarity,
right,
I was like, I could do anything I want in this world, but I just don't know what I want to do.
Yeah, but the clarity didn't come first.
No,
right?
It came when I was
that's
like
the biggest
26.
thing. The clarity does not come first. The work ethic, the humility to do the shit work, that comes first.
The experience, the exposure to other people, your options.
Yeah, exactly. Like lay the foundation, get the groundwork of those things, and then be open to opportunity. Right. But if you're just focusing on the opportunity, you're just trying to create that, it's gonna be a rough life.
Yeah. You don't want to put the cart before the horse, that's for sure.
Yeah, you have to have a foundation.
Yeah.
So the last thing we got for you, Hutch, is your business. If people want to get a hold of you, anything else that you want to plug and give shout outs to, and let people know where they can find you if they want to follow along.
Yeah. So 2minuteandatruck.com, 2minuteandajuncktruck.com. I mean, basically, if you need something picked up and set back down and then in the area, I mean, we go all the way out to Detroit Lakes, all the way out to Jamestown, all the way up north to Canada, down to Wapaton. So anywhere in the area need something picked up, set back down. You want great guys that are going to do it, send them our way.
You don't move it. You just pick it up and set it down.
I don't do it. I don't do much of it at all anymore.
You mentioned that you move like cross country moves too.
Yeah. So, and yeah, that's the other thing. Fargo market, right? Our wages are a little bit lower here than it would be in some major metros, Chicago, things like that. So if you know somebody moving to here and they're going to be using a moving service, have them call us because I guarantee that our rates are lower than anybody coming from Houston, Chicago, any of those major markets.
Huge tip.
And we can go anywhere, pick them up and bring them back.
How big do you guys do, like
whole house
motorcycles, ATVs,
yep.
side-by-sides, cars?
Haven't done a side-by-side yet. Cars, no.
Okay.
So we don't do we don't pull trailers, just too much liability. But we've put lawnmowers, 4-wheelers, things like that in the backs of the trucks, no problem. Yeah, we can pretty much do everything. Our trucks they're 33-foot box trucks. They're, the biggest U-Haul you could possibly get. I mean, they're not U-Hauls, but
so you can fit a whole house worth of stuff in one giant box truck.
Yeah, sometimes we send
one
two.
or two. Oh yeah.
Right?
Just throw 2 trucks.
We got 9, so I mean, if we could find one to fill 9 trucks, we'll do it. Right?
That'd be a good move.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think maybe the biggest interstate I've had was probably 4 trucks. Went down to South Carolina.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll figure it out.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Like a lot of good actionable stuff there and like mindset stuff. And I liked it was very to the point, and I liked the bust your ass and own your position no matter where you're at. That's huge. And I think not enough people hear that enough. Like I really like that.
Future,
so,
right? Like just like when I get that job, I'm gonna be the hardest working SOB out there.
Yeah. I'm gonna outwork my competitors.
Yeah. It's like good luck.
But no, thanks for coming on, dude. This was awesome. We really appreciate everything. Good luck with the moving. Good luck with the junk. Thank your wife for us.
We'll do. Yep.
But this was awesome.
Yeah, had a good time. We appreciate you coming on. I know you helped some guy or gal in a car commuting to work, on a random Tuesday. They heard a message from you and they're going to take some action. I just know that's happening right now or whenever this is.
All right. So thank you, listeners. We'll see you all next time.
See you on the next one.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Eric likes to ask a question. At this point, it's just us because I have to remind you constantly.
How about you ask it this time?
Okay. What's the question? No,